Now, the meeting comes 1 week after the U.S. pulled out of negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza. The Trump administration says Hamas was holding talks in bad faith. Now, also new this morning, the State Department announced new sanctions against Palestinian Authority officials and members of the Palestine Liberation Organization. The department accuses both groups of taking action to support terrorism and undermine the peace process with Israel. The sanctions block those officials from receiving visas to the U.S. It did not list any specific individuals, though. All of this is happening today as the situation in Gaza reaches a breaking point. The Israeli government faces increasing backlash from the global community over mounting evidence of widespread starvation in the Strip. Much of the aid needed for people on the ground is being blocked by Israel. Dozens of people have been killed while waiting in line for food. President Trump took to social media to weigh in on the crisis. In a short social media post, he said the fastest way to end the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is for Hamas to surrender and release the hostages. But members of Congress, they also voiced their concerns. Senator Bernie Sanders introduced 2 resolutions to block the sale of U.S. weapons to Israel, but both of those bills were rejected by Congress just yesterday. Here's just some of what Sanders had to say during his time on the Senate floor.
Let us be clear. There is no military purpose in starving thousands and thousands of children. Let us be clear. This is not an effort to win a war. This is an effort to destroy a people. One estimate based on Brown University research calculates that the United States has paid for 70% of the Gaza war. In other words, American taxpayer dollars are being used to starve children, bomb schools, kill civilians, and support the cruelty of Netanyahu and his criminal ministers.
Global leaders also took a stand to protect Gaza from experiencing a famine. Canada announced its plans to recognize a Palestinian state. Take a listen to some of those remarks from their Prime Minister, Mark Carney.
Canada intends to recognize the State of Palestine at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September 2025. This intention is predicated on the Palestinian Authority's commitment to much-needed reforms, including commitments by the Palestinian Authority's President Abbas to fundamentally reform its governance, to hold general elections in 2026 in which Hamas can play no part, and to demilitarize the Palestinian state.
France and the United Kingdom also announced their plan to recognize Palestine as a state. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Debora Patta has the latest from the region, but we want to warn you the images you're about to see are disturbing.
The war in Gaza has reached a tipping point as images of starving children have shaken the world. But a growing number of organizations, including the UN and on Monday 2 Israeli human rights groups, are not just accusing Israel of deliberate starvation, but of a far graver crime.
Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
It's a charge Israel vehemently denies.
It is baseless. There is no intent. Key for the charge of genocide.
But in a new report published by a respected medical journal, The Lancet, a group of health professionals said it was time to break the silence on genocide. Their findings, made since October 7, 2023, are damning. Life expectancy has reportedly fallen by 35 years. Gaza has the highest number of child deaths of any conflict zone, and the report concludes starvation has been relentlessly used as a weapon of war. Debora Patta, CBS News, East Jerusalem.